Okay, so this is JezMM talking to you about Sonic Colors because I'm a nerd. First of all, we were talking about platforming in 3D and how it doesn't work, so I'm going to start off with a few examples of some 3D platforming in Unleashed that I particularly enjoyed. This is from the DLC stage on Aptos, Act 4. I realised the irony of using a platform jumping section, considering we were talking about how much small platforms as squares suck in the 2D sections in colours, but this is just an example, so bear with me. And I personally find this quick stepping section even a lot more exciting than what colours had to offer. Next, this is from Adabat, the Act 4 DLC stage again. Something a bit more interesting than just platforms floating above spikes this time. I mean, it is just platforms floating above a pit, but it's certainly more interesting platforms. And then, what did I have next? Oh, Eggman Land. Yeah, I only take one of many routes through this section, but despite all the difficulty involved, maybe all the difficulty is because of this, but I think the opening area of Eggman Land is absolutely awesome in terms of 3D platforming. Even if I don't take the most platformy route here, there's just so much to do in this area, and I was really looking forward to seeing more like this in Sonic Colors, so I was a bit disappointed. So yeah, let Sonic go. Okay, next, I'll use this from Empire City Act 1. This is just an example of how Unleashed had much more interesting 3D sections than Colors does. This particular example here is just of a grinding section, and in a moment I'm going to switch some Colors footage to show you just how exciting the grinding is on Colors in comparison. So there's a ton of different routes here, it goes all over the place, it's not just, you've got jumping, you've got switching. This isn't the best example in a way because you do go back and forth between the rails, but personally I think that makes it even more interesting. It's probably one of the few places in Unleashed where there are some really major alternative routes, much like there were in the classics and the Wii version of Unleashed. But yeah. So there's an example of some grinding in Unleashed. In comparison, Colors is so basic it hurts. This is about as exciting as it gets grinding wise. 3 in a row, a bit of up and down. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just dodging stuff. The whole thing feels very shallow in comparison to what Unleashed had to offer grinding wise. So now I'm going to talk about some 2D platforming. I'm using Missouri Act 1 here. It's kind of an easy stage, so it has quite good flow to it. Which is basically what I'm talking about. Unleashed had a lot more flow to its 2D sections, and Colors did. Look, you're doing all this ton of interesting stuff. The pace is changing literally every couple of seconds with this, in terms of what the game is asking you to perform. And I really like that with Unleashed. Whereas Colors tends to use a lot of blocky platforming sections. There is a similar stage to this on Colors, where you're climbing up the huge construction area in Planet Wisp. Even though I've switched to Planet Wisp here, this is not the area I was just referring to, is not this area here, this is a different level. This is Act 6, I believe. The level I was talking about was either Act 4 or 5, I can't quite remember. Either way, it does a similar thing, but the platform is a lot chunkier in Sonic Colors. It's a lot more like Mario, which I've already discussed in the topic quite a bit. I really don't think much of these conveyor belt sections here. I find them really boring and kind of overused. They were fine in that one act, but then when they reappeared in this one, I was like, it's not really that fun. It's a nice concept, just to use once or twice, but yeah, thrice or 4 times is not that great. But yeah, the reason I'm using this act rather than that one that's similar to Missouri is because I feel that this area here is far more representative of most of Sonic Colors 2D platforming. It's just these boring little rectangles all the time. I know Unleashed used the rectangle platforms a fair bit, but generally speaking, for a start they were much bigger rectangles. It wasn't quite as precision platforming as you have here. Luckily they introduced the double jump, so it wasn't that bad, but this just isn't what I think of when I think of Sonic, you know? It's a good platformer, no doubt about that. I have real fun playing these stages, but it's just not what I was expecting. This is also a perfect example of what some other people complained about, the camera zooming out. Very hard to see if you don't have an HD TV. Thankfully I do, so that wasn't a problem. Okay, so let's talk about the thrill factor. I'm going to compare two particular moments here. Now this here, I really like that bit there. Because it was just an unusual camera angle, but it was no match for, I think you know what's coming here that I'm about to compare it to. Going down the clock tower in Spagonia. Now the reason going down the clock tower in Spagonia was so much more exciting, this is such a special moment, is because first of all, it's satisfying that you've just worked your way up that far, and you get to fly back down with such an awesome view of the entire level. I know it's not really the entire level, it's just a fake city, you never get to go to any of those buildings you see, but it still gives the impression that you've just conquered this area of land, and that's what makes it such a, for lack of a better word, epic moment. So this is the other one I'm going to compare. This is the roller coaster in Eggman Land. I absolutely love this bit. Now first of all, you're getting a major sense of speed here because you fly past tons of bits of scenery right next to you, and just when you think it's going to be automated, you're caught off guard and thrown right back into gameplay. And it's not even too much of a surprise because you're familiar with this gameplay already from the bobsled in Alaska. So they're not completely throwing you in at the deep end. It's still a satisfying and fun thing to play. You're not sitting there thinking, oh god, what the hell do I do, what the hell do I do? Maybe you are, but I absolutely love this bit. It really thrilled me in a way that I haven't had since Green Forest back in Sonic Adventure 2, which was just amazingly fast at the time. But yeah, I think this is one of the most thrilling moments in Sonic Unleashed, I absolutely love it. So of course I'm going to compare that to the roller coaster in Asteroid Coaster, which will be coming on just now. Now, the main differences here, all of the scenery in the background is so big and far away, you just don't get that same sense of speed when you're on the roller coaster. There's nothing really unexpected. There's no real sense of danger, like there was in Eggman Land. So all in all, it just makes for a much shallower experience. It's just not as exciting. Which I find kind of funny because on the forums, one or two people have said that this is probably one of the best examples of thrills in Sonic Colors. I really like this almost first-person camera here, but I'd rather they kept with that while you were going around the loops. Having it for the most boring part of the ride isn't that great, really. So it's an alright moment, it's just not as good as Unleashed. That's better there when you're flying past all that scenery. If only it'd been more like that. I didn't mean to die there, honest. So, just to finish off, this kind of seems like random footage of Apotos Act 2, the second level in Sonic Unleashed. But bear with it, because this will have a purpose in a second. I'm going to finish this little, not really a rant, but kind of informational videogram by just showing another example difference between a couple of things I dislike in colours in comparison to Unleashed, and people who have been following the topics closely on the boards will probably already be hazarding a guess at what this footage is meant to make an example of. Yeah, basically this footage here is roughly the first minute of gameplay involved in Sonic Unleashed when obtaining an S rank. Now, Act 2 again, the second level in the game. Here is roughly the first minute of footage involved in getting an S rank in Sonic Colors. Enjoy.